Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, 5 Tips to Get Your MSP Website Ranking Higher on Google. I'm Amber Noble, a marketing assistant at Barracuda MSP, and I'm happy to be moderating today's session. Today, I'm joined by Stuart Crawford, owner at Ulistic and a MSP marketing and SEO expert. During today's educational webinar, Stuart will cover his 5 must-know tips to get your website competitively ranking and bringing in new opportunities. Before we get started, let's do some brief housekeeping. During the webinar, if you have any questions, feel free to share them using the questions or chat panels to the right of the Zoom webinar screen. At the conclusion of the webinar, you will be prompted to complete a brief survey. Please take a moment to tell us what you think so we can continually improve the content and quality of our online events. Now, without further ado, I'd like to hand it over to Stuart to begin today's presentation. Take it away, Stuart.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. This is Stuart Crawford, and thank you for that great introduction. And thanks for everybody taking time out of your afternoon, and for those on the West Coast, your morning, late morning, to come and listen to me talk for the next 45 minutes or an hour on SEO and what your managed services business needs to know to get your website to rank higher on the Google search results. Now, during the preamble, we did say 5 tips, but this morning I felt a little bit generous and came up with 5 additional tips that you can take and put to practice right away. This is going to be a full demo, and I encourage questions and answers. So I've opened up the Q&A and chat on Zoom here for you to go ahead and ask any questions during the course of today's demo. I'm going to demo a few solutions that we use at Ulistic to help our managed services clients get higher rankings and actually increase their revenue. So I'm going to cover 10 basic points today. Now, all the tools that I'm going to show are available on the open market. You can go to any of their websites and purchase them online. I do not make any commission on anything, any products that I recommend today. So feel free to go out there and use any of the products. So I'm going to take this title slide down in a second here. I'm just going to kind of read what the goal of today's session is going to be. It's to help you rank your IT services pages higher. And the main way I'm going to achieve this is through blogs and content strategy. Ultimate results is to fuel your rankings and even more importantly, increase your revenues. So I'm going to jump right into the demo. I'm going to show, like I said, I'm going to show a few tools that we use at Ulistic to help our clients rank higher on the Google search results. So let me get this PowerPoint out of the way here, and we'll jump right into the demo. So the first tip I'm going to talk to you about is doing keyword research and competitor analysis, keyword research. So we're going to look at what keywords people are searching for on Google, and I'm going to mention Google, and that's 85% of the search market is Google. Bing, Yahoo, and all the other ones make up about 15% of the search traffic. If you're optimizing for Google, chances are you're going to hit the other ones. Just that's just the way it is. Google is the main search engine that we, as SEO professionals, try to rank for. And again, if we do everything right, Bing and Yahoo and all the other ones, if there's a few web crawler guys still out there, they should fall right into line. All right, so let's get right into it. We're going to jump into the Keyword Explorer. I'm using a tool called Ahrefs, ahrefs.com. It's a wonderful application, 100% online, that you can use to do keyword research. Google has their own keyword research tool. There's many others out there. I just found Ahrefs to be the most promising and the best results for anything that we want to search for on behalf of our clients. So what you're basically going to do when you log into Ahrefs, you're going to go to the Keyword Explorer right here in the top, and you're just going to type in a keyword set that you want to do. In today's demo, we're going to use the terminology data backup. Very simple, very competitive keyword set. But I'm going to show you again, after we go through these steps here, things that you can do to find out, hey, maybe not data backup, or maybe some variation of the word data backup. So we're going to go ahead and click on this, and we're going to keep it in the United States, and we're just doing a very basic search here for the keyword data backup. So what we see here as the screen starts to refresh here, the number 1 is the keyword difficulty. It ranks a 51 on keyword difficulty. That's a pretty tough keyword data backup to rank for. It has about 3,000 searches a month. And if you're going to run Google AdWords, you're looking at about a $35 per click on that keyword, and it gets about 1,700 clicks per month. You can see the breakdown here: 15% through paid and 85% through organic. So that's great. We're going to shoot for data backup as a keyword, but maybe your small managed services business that just has a disaster recovery business continuity solution. This is going to be a stretch for you to show up on the first page of the Google rankings, because if you scroll down here, you can see there's some pretty big names here that we're going against: Acronis, Carbonite, magazine sites like PC Mag, Wikipedia, Norton. There's a lot of competitors on here, but don't worry about this, because again, that just gives this. We're just setting up the main keyword of data backup. So so we're looking at the phrase match data backup. I'm going to click on the word. I'm going to click on phrase match now on the left-hand side, and it's going to come up with a number of different keywords that match data backup, data backup software, apps data backup services, what is data backup solution. Again, lots of stuff here, 4,800 keyword sets right here that we can search for that terminology, data backup. A little bit too much. Again, we have a couple things we have to keep in mind when we're looking at what we want to accomplish from our search engine optimization. We have informational intent, right? We have to make sure we're serving the needs of the searcher. So we're always going to look at informational intent as what we want to do. So I'm going to put in a couple of phrases or key terminologies here, like how to, best. Oh, let me retype best. Maybe I'm going to put the word, tutorial and ideas. And I'm going to keep it to any. I'm going to change it to any. And I'm going to go ahead and refine my search to keyword sets that have how-to, best, tutorial, ideas in it. Now you can see we knocked it down to about 389 different keywords. So now I can see here that these keyword sets are more refined, and I can look here. It says, keyword difficulties. That is how hard it is to rank this keyword on the first page of Google. Well, if I look here, data backup best practices, it doesn't, it's a keyword difficulty of 3, and it has a volume of 60 searches each month. So that might be one that I want to look at here. So I'm looking for, really what I'm doing here is just looking for topic ideas to keep in mind for when I go ahead and start writing my content. So, but I want to answer these questions when I'm looking at my keyword research. First off, does the topic I'm looking for have business value? So I'm going to start narrow downing the list using the keyword difficulty finder. So like, 3 here, that's a good one. I'm going to start looking at that, right? This keyword difficulty estimates how hard it's going to be to get that keyword to rank in the top 10 of the search results. The lower the number, the easier it will be. So I'm going to set the keyword difficulty here just to 0 to 20, and it's going to help me narrow down it even more, right? So I'm really looking at filtering out a lot of the other ones that are very hard. I can see that data backup best practices has a keyword difficulty of 3, and what is the best solution for business data backup? That has a keyword difficulty of 12 and a volume of 50. So I hope you're all following along here. Again, if there's any questions, anything you want me to further explain, please use the chat or the questions, and I'll be more than happy to stop and just go through it a bit more in detail here. So really what we want to look at here is, what are my chances of ranking high for this keyword, right? So, I'm going to click on data best practices, data backup best practices. I'm just going to click on it. And what I'm looking for here is the search volume is 60. It doesn't have any measurable clicks. It's got a global volume of 80 across the whole world here. So if you're in Australia, you're 10. If you're in the UK, you got 10 searches on there. I'm going to look at this a little and go into a lot more detail of this as I start looking at, what is, the chances of getting my website to rank for this keyword set, and is it worthwhile me putting some effort towards it? I'm going to assume yes at this time, because for the demo purposes, we'll just assume yes. So I'm going to scroll down now to the bottom of here. I'm going to show the top 10 search results there's one feature snippet and 9 organic results for this term, best data backup services, or best data backup practices, or data backup best practices. That's the keyword set that we're going in. Here's the top results for that. So we're going to, as you use Ahrefs, you scroll down, you can see all the things. So what I want to look at here from, my next step is how many domains are referring traffic to it, and how many backlinks? Because these ones here are ranking. This is the first page of Google. So for me as an SEO person looking at this, I'm going, you know what? It should be fairly straightforward to get my site to rank high for this, because there's not a lot of effort. There's only one backlink, one domain, 2 backlinks, 2 domains. So you can see there's not a lot of what we call external SEO or off-page SEO that needs to be done to get this keyword set to rank on the first page of Google. Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go ahead and do this and it'll show up overnight, but again, if you keep working at it and refining content down the road, you have a higher degree of success writing this type of content for your website. But really, we just want to look at what information do I need to know to compete against the top pages. So how does Google view the search intent for this topic, and how can we best serve our users? That's really what we want to look at here. So I'm going to go through here. I'm going to look at all the searches. I'm going to look at a lot of information here, and I'm going to look at the search suggestions next. So in search suggestions, it's really going to show me all the suggested searches the suggested searches that can also help rank for this keyword set per se. So that's a very basic keyword research that we're doing here. And again, you can see other suggestions for search that do come up here related to that keyword set. So really, point number 1 is to understand keyword research and understand what is the searcher's intention when going into Google and typing in a search. At the end of the day, Google's in the business of providing valuable information to their searchers. So that's what we want to achieve. We want to achieve valuable information that when somebody goes to Google and types in, data backup best practices or a related keyword term to that your website ranks for that keyword search. So if there's any questions, remember, keep using the data or the chat and the Q&A up on Zoom, and we'll answer any questions as they come up. So the next step, point number 2 now, is to do deeper keyword research and then start building a solid outline for your content. So right now we're still in the research mode. We're not committing anything to the website yet. So what I want to start looking at, I'm going to go back one page here. I'm just going to hit the back button and go back to where we were. So now if I look at this, let me just go back to, I'm going to go back here. I'm going to do a search for data. I'm going to just keep it a data backup best practices. Let me just copy this keyword here, and I'm going to go back into my keyword explorer. Let me do it this way. It's probably easier to demo it this way. And it'll bring up, of course, all my, let me go back to phrase match. It'll bring up all my keywords here. So what I really want to start looking at here is the number of organic. Let's look for the number of organic keywords. So if I look at that, I see backup best practices as a parent topic or organic keyword. We're going to use the position filter to show the keywords by topic as well. So the position filter, let's see where I find that here. Hold on. I'm looking at the filter here. I'm going to go to 8 and show you this here. And you can see all the keywords here that are, have a keyword difficulty of 0 to 8. So really what we're looking at here is for backup best practices, again, looking at all the keywords here that are available to us to search for, terminology around data backup. Really what we're looking at doing here is weeding out a lot of irrelevant keywords that we don't want to target anyways. So we're gonna, you can use a lot of these things and filter out, keywords that are not relevant to, what you want to search for. The other thing I'm going to show you here is that, comparing. I'm going to go back one page here. Hope you guys are following along on the demo, okay? Hope the screens are refreshing in due course here. Let me go back to get to the page that has all of our search rankings on it. There we go. It's catching up to me here. It's gonna put a data backup again. Let's start right at the beginning. Data backup. And I'm gonna scroll down here and see my search result pages. So this is just generic search result pages. So I already showed you backlinks and domains. This is the amount of traffic and the keyword density here. Let's choose this one here, 38. So it brings up all the, this is on Techopedia. For this page here, these are all the keywords that are searching for this page. So this is, for this page here on data backup, all these keywords here. What I want to look at here, if I go back one screen for a second, go back to my search history. I'm gonna actually do a comparison now I'm gonna just take this page right here, this top one, just for the demo purposes. And I'm going to open up a new tab. I'm gonna do the, let's see, where's go my phrase match. Ooh, something doesn't look right here. Hold on a second, folks. Let me get back to where I was. All right, let's go here. Sorry. All the back and forth on all the screens. I just got to get the place back here where it's supposed to be. The nice thing about a live demo, when it bombs, it bombs. Let's go back and start over again. So here's all my search result pages. And what I'm really looking for here is, comparing my page to other pages. So if I want to look at a content gap analysis or comparing how I rank with other pages or how I rank against other sites out there, I can use Ahrefs to really search down on what other pages are out there. And I'm just gonna show you here. I'm gonna go into this Content Explorer here. I'm gonna open up a new tab. And let me do it this way. I'm going to go to my heuristic one here. There we go. This is the page I want. I'm going to go to the content gap. So the content gap allows me to look at what pages are out there and how do I, what pages are lacking on other, against my page against others. So just for the sake of a demo, I'm just going to take a few URLs here. And these ones should be fine. And I'm going to show all the below targets. Okay, and I'm going to just basically do a search like so and show all the keywords. So here's a quick short list of all the keywords that are showing up on these pages and what's common across them all. That's why the list is so small. But again, it gives me some really good information on other keyword sets that I can be looking at. Data backup is one word. Data backup is 3 words. What is data backup? So again, as I'm referring my content strategy, I can definitely start looking at more refined, keyword search variables. And there's a question about geographic location. There is geographic location built into Ahrefs. At this level, I do believe it's just at the country level. But if you go into their competitor rank tracker at the top here, you can break it down into certain cities or states or larger geographic regions. But yeah, so there is at this level, it's just by the country. But as you get into rank tracker and comparing your competitors, you can actually go in there and break it down by geographic locations such as cities. So I do have one client in the DC metro area where we compare Fairfax with Frederick, with Baltimore, with Washington, and see how we compete against our competitors in those different geographies. So good question. So really, we're at this stage, we're really just completed all of our content, our keyword research, and we've got a good idea of what we want to search for. So a tool like Ahrefs, again, it's if you go to ahrefs.com, it's fairly affordable. Again, if you work with Eulistic, we include this as part of our service, as part of our SEO service, and you can really dig down a lot deeper into things like competing against, going against competitors, what competitors are ranking for, and things like that. I would love to show you that, but I don't have the ability to show you that today because of confidentiality with my clients. I just can't show you that. So all good there. I want to get into the next stage, which is creating, very valuable. What do you have to do to create that content? Now that you've done the research, now you got to create the content. So what makes great content? So, it comes down to understanding what the searchers are searching for. So why is somebody going to Google in the first place to find information? Well, they have a problem to solve, or they're looking for an answer for something. So the biggest challenge I see with managed service providers today is they're really focused on what I call products and services pages. We got to talk about our managed services. We got to talk about our business continuity. We got to talk about our email archiving. It's really about pitching their product or service. And today, in today's world, if we understand the searcher's intent, it's really about answering questions and solving problems. And so you got to really start looking at your content strategy on how do I answer questions and how do I solve problems. And I'm hoping over the next 10 minutes or so, I'm going to enlighten you a little bit on how you do that. You absolutely need to become the best helper. In the simplest terms, you have to really focus yourself on being a helper and building your content around helping people. And our goal really is to serve the searcher's intent and solve problems. So the way I do it when I'm starting to build content, and I have some content here that I've already done up. It's on my Eulistic page. I've done this article, how to successfully develop and put an MSP marketing plan into action. So when I built this article, the first things I want to do is start with my conclusion. What is my intention on it? What do I want to achieve? So at the end, I basically put my next steps. Is what do I want you to do after reading this article? Well, obviously, I want you to pick up the phone and call me. But I start with the conclusion, and work towards that conclusion. Your conclusion is short, and it's basically help you and deliver some level of result to the reader. And as I start moving up, I move into the body and start asking, how do I get someone to my conclusion? So obviously, the content has to be there in order to drive somebody towards that conclusion. So again, I am very much into making sure that people have valuable content. One of the things I frown upon today is services that offer syndicated content. I know there's a number of them out there in the MSP space that really, I find a lot of them is very thin and sometimes doesn't deliver the value that a reader is definitely looking for. So some of my copywriting tips, that I look at when I'm creating content for my clients, is obviously you want to have, for an MSP, the best research I've done is your blog article should be somewhere in this neighborhood of 800 to 1,000 words. And I know what some people are thinking. Well, Stuart, most people don't read that much text. And I get that and I understand, but I'll tell you one thing is you may not read it, but the Google search engines will read it. And they read every single word. So in this demo here, what I'll show you here is how this works. Yeah, you know what? This is what people do on their mobile devices or on their computers. They skim. They scroll. Oh, they see something that interests them. and they go up, 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 and up, and up, and then start reading it. So how do we break out our content so that it can be skimmed through, or what I call scannable content? Well, you want to use, headers like this, bullet lists like this, graphics, images, charts, graphs, video, a lot of that stuff, headers, subheaders, all that stuff, and break it out your content so it can be scannable as people scroll through the content. And, people are going to scan until they find something that interests them. But I can tell you this right now, folks, that Google will read every single word on your page. So that's why we still encourage 800 to 1,000 words of content when you're building out your content strategy for your websites. So breaking out your content like that is also, makes your content scannable, keeps the reader engaged and constantly moving and processing information. So that's what, as we go through, that's what we want to do. And actually, when you're writing your content, make sure you write it into a fifth grader to ninth grader language. You don't want to make it too technical. You don't want to make it too basic. Somewhere between a fifth grader and ninth grader is the best approach. And you notice as I do this webinar today, I'm not talking about doorway pages or linkable assets or other keywords. I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible so that you guys can understand exactly everything that you need to do. The next stage, and this is the most important stage of any content, is the introduction. So you need to have a very solid introduction. So I'm going to use this content right here as an example. Top lessons learned when hiring an internal marketing person. I'm going to get back to the subjects in a second, but your introduction is where you're going to get them on the hook and bring them in. So again, as you're working your content, make sure you have a very strong introduction so they can still continue to read through all of your content. And always use words like you and I when you're writing your content, because that, again, keeps them engaged. So in this section here, just make sure your content, when you're writing your content, make it scannable, use headers. And the other thing from an SEO perspective with headers and bullet points and all that, and underlines and bolds, Google does put some emphasis onto headers and underlines and bolds and lists and things like that as they're indexing the page. Okay. The next tip is optimizing your content. So the on-page SEO. So one of the things that we do for our clients when we're building out content, and a lot of our content is all unique. We rarely use syndicated content for anything now. We used to at one time, but now today, very much focused on unique content for all of our clients. But as we're building out this content, we want to start linking to other assets inside of our website. So you'll see here that this one has a link to a blog site. This link here, MSP Marketing Special, has a link to somewhere else in our blog site. And as you scroll through, you'll find a link here to the disc profile assessment, as we talk about another, MSP marketing. We're linking to other assets inside of our website, because as Google comes through and indexes these pages, we want them to follow those links to other resources inside of our website. So really helps us understand, internal linking, helps build and pass along that link juice, that link credibility to other resources on our website. So again, if you're not linking internally on your website with your content, you want to make sure you're doing that. You can link. This is where a good time to link to your products and services pages. So if you do want to link to your backup and disaster recovery page or your managed IT services page, this here is a good time to make sure that you are linking to those product and service pages. You can help them get those pages to rank. So remember, searcher intent, ask questions, solve problems. That's what your blog does. And then you can use that approach to build up your products and services pages. So it really comes down to be a flow of solving problems and then introducing the solution. And don't forget to link out to other sites. Don't go crazy on linking out to third-party external sites. Only do it if it helps the reader. So in this example here, we're linking to the DISC profile assessment on Wikipedia because it does help explain what a DISC tool is. One of the things you want to make sure you're doing when you're linking out to third-party tool services like that or third-party pages is make sure that you are putting a no follow tag on there, because you don't want to leak out any of your link credibility to another site external from yours. You want to do that internal, but you don't necessarily want to do that external. So make sure that we're we're looking for and linking that way. And the last thing you can look at doing here when you're starting to build out links and finding out what other pages are linking to, Google has, I'm not sure if everybody, you've probably seen it, but I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Google has what they call the Google Suggest or auto suggestions. So when you're doing a search on Google, you can actually type in data backup, and all these things like data backup policies, data backup best practice, data backup techniques, data backup procedures, you can use them as, again, additional links when you're in your content and refining your content to build up that that keyword set. And again, if I click on this and do a search for data backup, if I scroll to the bottom of the search result pages, it does give me some related searches as well, like types of backup, importance of data backup. So again, it gives you some other ideas when you're building out your content strategy. Okay, so when you're all ready, go ahead and start publishing your content and build up from there. Now, before you hit the publish button, I really want to drive home the importance of headlines. So headlines are crucial to getting information shared on social and getting it found on the search result pages. So, as I go through here and I look at, searches, let me find a search here that I've done, top lessons learned when hiring an internal marketing person. I could easily put, hiring an internal marketing person for your MSP or other key, but I decided to use top lessons learned because that, promotes, some level of education. And I wanted to make sure that, as I build out that and publish that, I want to use that search term and that title in my search or my publication. So when people are looking at it on Google, they see it and they want to stop and click on it and read it. So again, use that on search and also use it on social. So how do you create a great headline? That's often a question I get from a lot of managed service providers that are diving into content strategy for the first time. I recommend looking at different websites and let's do a search for data backup, for example. I've put a search in for data backup, and I can just scroll through here and see what other titles are people using. 5 ways to back up your data and keep it safe. A beginner's guide to PC backup. How to back up your computer. You can start seeing that some of the titles used for building titles. If I look at, and I also go to BuzzFeed, which is another great service and good information to have in your back pocket, and I do a search on BuzzFeed, it'll also tell me, what are people, and BuzzFeed works really hard at making sure they have really good titles, by the way. But I go to data backup here, I can also see, other titles used for data backup. Data backup is not necessarily that sexy of a topic, but you can see that there's some good ideas here for analytics and titles used on BuzzFeed. So the other book, I actually promote a book to all of our clients called They Ask, You Answer. Now we're building our content strategy based on They Ask, You Answer, and it is a really good book to read when it comes to understanding content strategies for your marketing efforts, because it does accomplish the search, helping you figure out the searcher's intention. So ask, and how it's very simple how to use that. So one of the things that we sit down with people that we work with is ask, okay, what questions are people asking you in the sales process? Things like, Why should I hire a managed service provider over an internal IT company? What's the ROI on managed services? What happens when I put a ticket in? A lot of these questions that people have, they're asking you during the sales process. You can actually turn that into content for your website as well. And the last tip I'm going to offer here when it comes to the content strategy and getting your pages to rank on page is to look at page speed. Ideally, we want to have our page load up, within 1 second. Now, you've got to basically disable all your third-party tracking scripts, minimize the media that you put on there, have stellar hosting, and be a technical wizard to accomplish that. But it's interesting, some of the stats that we've stumbled upon, when it comes to how a page that loads slowly takes away from potential revenue opportunities for our business. So, and also Google has made it very clear that page speed is going to become a major ranking factor for all search. And if it hasn't already, or has already started looking at mobile. Mobile page speed is very, very, very important. So, definitely want to look at page speed and how to get your page speed. So, a couple things that you can do, a few things that you can do here to make sure you have the best page speed is put your website into the Google Page Speed Insights. I'm going to take this page right here that we've already, which is the one we just launched, this one right here. Let's look at this page right here. And I'm going to go to the Google Page Speed here. And I'm just going to type in the URL. And I'm going to do a quick analysis of it. It doesn't take long. It takes like 30 seconds or so to do a quick analysis of your site. It's going to tell you what you need to improve upon. So I'm hoping I have a good knock on wood. I have a good score on this one. But it's going to tell me, what I need to do, and then I can give that to my web team or my web developers and say, okay, improve upon this, and look. So I got a good optimization on mobile, 82 out of 100. Desktop, I need to do some work on the desktop. So I need to, so some of the things I can do, leverage browser caching. So we recommend the W3 Total Cache plugin for WordPress if you're running a WordPress site. That helps cache pages on your website so that they help load faster. Another plugin that we recommend is Short Pixel. And what Short Pixel does is when you upload images to your website, it helps condense those images down and make them smaller so they load faster. And the last thing is implement a hosting company that has a content delivery network. We recommend WP Engine for all of our hosting. That's the one that we host all of our websites on. And they also have a built-in content delivery network into their service. So very, very good services to do and things that help optimize your page so it loads faster. And then when you're all done that, you can go to a service like Pingdom, and you can run your site through Pingdom, tools.pingdom.com. And I put a blog in here, and I tested it from New York City. And you can see that my load time is 3.07 seconds. And it tells me where I have to improve this page to make it load better. So Pingdom, run all your sites through Pingdom and see how you can make your site better. Give it to your web developer, and they can work on fixing that. The next step, we're on to step number 7. If you're keeping count, is start promoting the heck out of your content. So, I recommend, if you're business to business, like managed service providers are, use LinkedIn. Post all your posts up on LinkedIn. So here's one that I posted earlier that you can put on Facebook is great. Twitter, Instagram, there's all kind of email marketing. Use this to promote your content on all of these services. Niche forums are another one. So things like Reddit, any private forums, things like that. Just go on there and put all your content on there and share it. Now, don't be spammy. But again, if you're writing good, valuable content that answers questions that people have, and solves problems, and you're serving the searcher's intentions, you're not going to be labeled as a spammer. So one of the things that we recommend to a lot of our clients when it comes to social media side is not necessarily go and do something like this, but maybe monitor groups, or when people have questions on LinkedIn or Facebook or business forums, is answer the person's question and then put a link to the content that you created. So again, in a search strategy, if I'm looking at content keywords, ideas, and things that I can write about, I may also look at LinkedIn groups or Facebook groups or other types of forums to see what kind of questions people are having, answer those questions by writing some content for my website, and then sharing that link through those private forums or our social media forums. So it really just helps position you as the expert as well as drive traffic to your website. And it also helps with link building. People share that information, and it helps get the word out there. So the other thing that you can do is what I look at, link building through email outreach. So this gets a little it's a little uncomfortable for a lot of people to do, but it can be very valuable at the same time. So I'm going to go back into Ahrefs. I'm going to go back to the Keyword Explorer, and I'm going to type in the keyword data backup again. Let me make sure I type it right. Okay, so I have all my keywords that come up here. I'm going to scroll down to the top 10 searches again, and I'm going to click on backlinks. I'm just going to click on any one of these backlinks. So what is data backup? Like right here, I'm going to click on the number 7, and it's going to show me the sites that have this backlink, right? So I'm going to add some filters. I'm going to group similar. I'm going to put one link per domain. I'm going to make sure I'm doing do follow links. I want to go after do follow links. And I can choose after this filters, I can export the results, or I can just work on them here. I'm going to do my analysis. And I'm going to, when I see something that, this just web world is linking to this page here, I could go and, maybe my content is more refreshed than this one, especially if you're looking at, backup strategies like from 2013, 14, 15, and you wrote a backup strategies for 2018, you can go back to this type of person and say, I can click on this link here, open it up, find who the website owner is, and reach out to them and offer my article as a replacement link for the article that they link to. So you got to really be careful how you do this. You don't want to come across and, as rude or, pushy. You want to do it in a way that brings value and services. So if you're interested, reach out to me after the webinar, and I'll make sure I can get you a copy of a script that we use when doing this on behalf of our clients. Basically, when you're sending an email outreach to ask somebody to replace a link, you want to keep it short. Talk to them like a human being, because they are human beings on the other end. Don't be overly needy, and have a good reason to contact them. So again, if something's out of date or you got a better solution, you can make that recommendations. So the next step is, step number 8 and 9. I'm going to combine them into one because it really kind of goes into analysis of stats on Google Analytics and Google Search Console. So I'm going to go into Google Analytics first, and I'm going to start looking at, and this is very important information. If you're not running Google Analytics on your website and not looking at your Google Analytics information, very important that you do so. Really, the only thing I really want to look at here is my pages and see how my pages on my website are doing. And the really only stat I care about right now at this stage is average time on the page. So this column right here. I want to look at, my average time on my site right now is 2 minutes and 24 seconds. So this page here, the guide to managed services pricing, the average person spends 4 minutes and 23 seconds on that page. So I can see right through here that they're getting some better value here. The bounce rate is, it's a blog, so I expect it to be a little higher than like a normal page, but it's not bad for a blog. But the page, this page here on negotiations, which concerns me because it has an embedded video on it. Really only has an average time on page of 1 minute and 45 seconds. So obviously I have a little bit more work to do on that one to get people to stick on that one. So really just looking at, okay, that tells me I should open up that page and look at it and see, what's going on there, because there's something not right. The next tool that Google makes available is the Google Search Console. So the Google Search Console is a very powerful tool. I'm not sure if a lot of people go into it and start looking around on it, but the Google Search Console brings a lot of valuable information to it. And what I'm going to show you here is really just, keywords based on queries. So I'm just going to start all over again so you can see how it works. If I go into the Google Search Console, I go into queries and I can filter on queries. So this is on my website. So I'm going to look at, managed services, marketing. So that's what I do. Filter on it, and I can see, and I'm going to turn on all of these metrics here as well. I can see here that for managed services marketing plan, I have 18 impressions, 1 click. So an impression is how many times you show up in search. I got 1 click on that. So this allows me to go through and say, what can I improve upon on this page? And my average position is 7. What can I improve upon on this page to make this better? But you can see down item number 4, managed services marketing. It has an impressions of 138 impressions and 0 clicks. So something's not right here, and I'm ranking 3.9, so 4 on average. So I got to do some work here to figure out what I need to do to improve that. Maybe it is creating more content. Maybe it is refining the content I already have on my site, which gets us into point number 10, which is relaunching existing content. So I mentioned that managed services marketing plan was one of the words that I wanted to look at. So I wrote a blog post in 2013 called How to Successfully Develop and Put an MSP Marketing Plan into Action. So this post is a little dated. It's from 2013. Now I've already gone through and put some changes in it and modified it just for the sake of the demo. So I've already modified it to today's standards. So what I do here now is I go through and I just change the date to be today's date. Just relaunch it under today's date. I don't have to go back and change the content or change, I don't have to go back and rewrite a whole new piece of content for it. I can just go back and relaunch it under this date and then schedule it or publish it. But at 12:33 Pacific time, it'll go out and get published. So really, you can look at back, if you have articles on your website like top backup strategies from 2017, go back and revisit that, change it up to 2018, maybe introduce some new strategies, take away the old ones, and relaunch that content once you're done, and recall it, top backup strategies for 2018, and republish it with a new date. So, folks, that was a fast and furious 10-point checklist on how to, maximize your SEO for your MSP website. If there's any questions, any things you want to get more information on, please feel free to ask. I'll leave you with these thoughts. No one has ever said that SEO is easy. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts into SEO, and it does take a lot of time. That's the thing with Google. It does take a lot of time to get this to work, and it needs constant care and attention. And that's what I do. I'm a search and web marketer, so I spend a lot of time, analyzing client websites, looking at best ways to, optimize content. And I know a lot of you may not have the time to do that. So if you're looking for some help in that department, I encourage you to reach out to me. My email address and my phone number are here on the screen. I'm more happy to sit down with you and understand how I can help you with your searchability online, and how we introduce other things like social media and email marketing into that, so you can get better results, increase your revenues, and improve your online rankings. But if you do this, and if you want to take this on yourself, I hope the information I shared with you is of somewhat value. Remember, Hrefs is a really good tool. Tools like WP, Total Cache, other the Google Search Console, Google Analytics, things like that really help you build your content strategy, SEO strategy. All right, I will sum up there. Again, if we can help you in any way, feel free to reach out. I'll turn it back to the moderator and see if there's any questions.
Thanks, Stuart. I just wanted to thank you again for going over those tips with us. I've launched the poll. If everyone could just take a moment and give us some very valuable feedback for our future webinars. And if there are any additional questions, feel free to throw them in the chat now, and we can certainly get to them. Stuart, would you mind going over those 10 points, just summarizing them once again, just in terms of like a bullet point list of those 10
sure.
points?
So, yeah, that's a good point. So the 10 steps again were: number one, do your blog or do your topic research and keyword analysis, and understand what keywords people are searching for. The second tip is to go deeper in the keyword research and build a solid outline. The third tip is to create content that's better than your competition. The fourth tip comes down to, optimizing your content. So going through and make sure your on-page SEO is all done. The fifth tip is creating a breathtaking title and publish your content. The sixth tip, which is going to be, where did I put that sixth tip? Look at all your pages and make sure your page speed is optimized. Seventh tip is promote the heck out of your content. Make sure you're getting out there and getting it promoted. Number 8, 9, I combined. So basically online stats using Google Analytics and Google Search Console. And the 10th content is relaunch older content. So there you have it, folks. Those are the 10 tips, kind of in a nutshell.
Okay, I'm going to end the poll. And I have a list made up of those 10 tips that I'm going to post in the chat panel for anyone who didn't get it. Let me just struggle with my computer real quick. But otherwise, we're good. And thank you, everyone, for coming to the webinar today. It doesn't look like we have any additional questions. So if you're all set and don't need the list that I'm trying to undelete from my computer, I will thank you for your time, and hopefully we see you next time as well.
Thanks, everyone.